Welcome to I Am the Cute One, the most chaotic school dance in the podcast universe.
Let's spike the punch, grind to usher, and talk about our favorite topic, ourselves. Hello, I'm Chelsea, and I'm the cute one.
And I am Donnie, and I am the cute one.
And we are here today to cover Edward Scissorhands.
Or we can say we're covering it, and instead I'll just cut your hair for an hour and a half.
All right, let's just rip off the Band-Aid, cuties. We were on the edge of our seats. We ended last episode on a cliffhanger because Donnie had never seen this movie. And we were curious. We were wondering, will he like it? Did he not see this movie for a reason? Just go ahead. Break our hearts.
Well, first, I texted you when I was a half hour in, and I said, this movie is made for freaks, but I really love it.
I love when you use the word freak. It really just immediately channels Libby from Sabrina in a really beautiful way that I think matches with your spirit and your soul.
And you know what sucks? I'll just say it. This is a safe space. The girl that plays Libby is practically a freak herself. She's like very kind, you know, and like every time I meet her at like a convention or she's in the New York area, sometimes I see her on the street.
The fact that you can say every time I meet her says a lot about you.
Well, I interviewed her once, remember?
Oh, you did. I forgot about that. I love your random history as like a celebrity interviewer. Remember when you interviewed that guy from the Ellen show? It's on your YouTube still. People can go and watch that.
I remember that. Remember when I interviewed Robert Richard, famously the human cousin from Cousin Skeeter, and he showed up shirtless?
I do remember that.
I'll never forget it. Anyway, she just didn't get it. I wanted her to get it. I feel like if I interviewed Charisma Carpenter and said like, tell me why Cordelia is the main character of Buffy. Tell me why Buffy is the villain of her own show.
Right.
She would like get it and feed into it. Whereas like this girl, we don't need to say her name, even though I'm already airing out her business. She just didn't get it. Like, obviously, Libby is not the hero of Sabrina, but that's how I wanted to frame the article. Just go with it, honey.
Right. Like, Libby was just living her life as the queen bee of a school, and then this freak shows up and turns me into a pineapple. Her aunts are always getting involved. She's stealing the boy that I have a crush on. She's always getting into hijinks. All of the professors clearly favor her. I'm the victim. I'm Libby.
I fully agree. To tie it all back, she played Nessa Rose on Broadway, or it's the beginning of Wicked's run. Yeah, she was very good. She got that.
Back to Edward Scissorhands.
So I watched it and I texted you the first half hour and said, this is a movie for freaks, but I'm really enjoying it. I thought the color scheme was great. Going into it, I knew nothing except that he cuts a bush and paper dolls and maybe someone's hair. That's literally all I knew. And then being on the other hour and a half of it, I learned that those are the things I know about the movie because that's all that happened.
Well, and a heartwarming tale about being different and acceptance and identity.
If that's what you got from it, God bless you.
Okay. Yeah, you followed up with, what's the point? And then not only a text that said, what's the point, but that was followed up by a screenshot of you Googling, what's the point of Edward Scissorhands? And to that I say, why does everything need a point? Maybe we just experience the magic of a super vibey town and a guy with scissors for his hands.
No, I'm not watching a movie for vibes. Vibe is a Hallmark card. A vibe is a digital short, we'll say. An hour and 50-minute movie should not be just vibes.
Yeah, well, one thing about Tim Burton is his movies will have Johnny Depp in them, and they will be, much like Judd Apatow, much too long.
If I like it, I don't mind. Batman Returns, make it 3 hours. Give me the extended cut, the cat scratch edition.
Okay. This movie premiered December 14th, 2000. Home Alone was top of the box office, and Because I Love You by Stevie B was #1 on the music charts. And then, here's a little tidbit for you, Donnie. Louis Jordan's musical, Five Guys Named Mo, opened in London on this day, and the U.S. saw a key right-to-die case involving Nancy Cruzan permitting her feeding tube to be removed.
Home Alone indeed.
So if today's episode makes you laugh or scream or drag Libby from Sabrina the Teenage Witch for no goddamn reason, please do us a favor and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. A 5-star review is the easiest way to help us grow our audience and this community. And even if you are somebody who listens on Apple, go on over to Spotify and rate us and vice versa, because we are trying to grow this show. Also, we offer ad-free versions of our episodes on Patreon, and we are officially covering Gossip Girl right now, so patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. one.
Bless.
Do you have any background info or trivia for us today, Donnie?
I do. It was written and directed by Tim Burton, but co-written by Carolyn Thompson because she was a novelist at the time. Maybe she still is. I don't know her life. And Tim Burton hired her to write a spec script after reading her short novel, Firstborn, which is about an abortion that comes back to life. So...
Goodness.
He was so moved. He felt it was very similar in vibes to what he wanted Edward Scissorhands to be, that he hired her. So her career, besides novels, also consists of The Addams Family, Homeward Bound, The Secret Garden, and Snow White, the Fairest of Them All, the TV movie featuring Kristen Cruick. So I'll say it. I prefer her career over Tim Burton's.
Honestly, she's covered more ground and certainly is involved with more actors than Johnny Depp and Bellatrix Lestrange.
Helena Bonham Carter, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she probably has no problem hiring Black people. Did you know he said that?
What?
Tim Burton, I think about Wednesday, the TV show. Somewhere fairly recent, he was asked why he doesn't put Black people in it. He said, it ruins my vision.
Yeah, he's like, but this man who just had a public court, he's fine. He doesn't throw off the vibe at all.
So it cost $20 million to make and brought in $86 million. Freaks came out in full force for this. Happy holidays. It was an Oscar nominee for Best Makeup, but it lost to Dick Tracy, which also I never saw that movie either, but now I want to. Madonna's in it. Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars, saying, "The director Tim Burton wages a valiant battle to show us new and wonderful things. In a Hollywood that placidly recycles the same old images, Burton uses special effects and visual tricks to create sights that have never been seen before. That is the good news. The disappointment is that Burton has not yet found the storytelling and character-building strength to go along with his pictorial flair." I agree.
Okay.
Beautifully stunning. I'd go to a Tim Burton theme park.
Oh, 100%.
But I don't need an hour and 50 minutes of a haircut.
And I do have to say, I feel nostalgic for this movie. It had been a while since I've seen it. And upon rewatching as a grown-up, I will be dragging this movie for filth, but mine comes from a place of love. So, cuties, at least half of us is coming from a good place.
Well, the first half hour, I'll be saying wonderful things.
Great. This is your Krampus.
Yeah. Oh, my God, it is. It's time for taglines. The one I've brought is a story of love made from scratch. Yeah.
Okay, we might have to go back to Fuck, Marry, Kill, because yours are always just so much better than mine, because mine is, this movie cuts right to the heart. Get it?
I get it. No, that was good. I like that. That was one of
you.
your best, I think. Okay, the real ones are, his scars run deep.
You know what? I would argue that it seems like his scars are a bigger deal to everybody else than they are to him. He doesn't seem too bothered by the scars. It's everybody else that's trying to put on astringents.
Maybe that's symbolic of something. Innocence is what he knows. Beauty is what she sees.
Ugh. Creepy is what she sees.
And the last one is, his story will touch you even though he can't. That one I like.
I love that one.
I brought a little bit of trivia. Number 1, Johnny Depp lost 25 pounds for the role. Slender Man. If you were really into the bushes that he cut the entire movie, some of them are still featured to this day at the New York City restaurant Tavern on the Green.
Whoa.
Yeah, which a little background information to you about that. My ex-husband used to make promises about places he wanted to take me to, things he wanted to get me, and they just never came to fruition. So I've never been to Tavern on the Green, cuties, even though I was told I would simply love it. He can't wait to take me. So if you want to go to Tavern on the Green, maybe we can have a cutie meet up and really go one day.
That would be fun. I'll bring my best pair of shears.
Great. Also, what a fun fact. The blonde boy on the slip and slide at the beginning of the movie, do you know who it was?
No.
Nick Carter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a fun fact.
I know. That one brought me joy. And also reading my ex-husband and Libby for filth all in one episode. I thought the day would never come. Sean Astin was considered for the role of Jim, but didn't feel comfortable playing a villain. Also, Christian Slater, Kiefer Sutherland, and River Phoenix were also considered. And then they just all got ditched for this not famous person.
So now I want to know, what character do you identify as?
I don't think it's a question at all. I think I'm very clearly Joyce. Hide your college-age kids.
Gabby Solis is coming to town. I am Peg. the mom.
Uh-huh.
I am a Captain Save-A-Ho. I do love to rescue someone or try to fix someone, even if they're not asking for it. And I also am a learn from experience type of gal. And I do frequently have the aha moment far too late, in which everyone has told me, wow, this is a crazy choice you're making. But it takes me already cannonballed into the deep end before I say, I don't think I thought this one out.
What didn't she think out?
So now it's time, Donnie. I'm going to put 1 minute on the clock. Can you give us a 1 minute synopsis of this fine film?
A man with scissors for hands cuts stuff for an hour and a half until he kills someone.
There you have it. Snuggle in, sweetie. It's cold out there. No, we're not covering Mrs. Doubtfire, although this movie opens with some of the craziest prosthetics we've seen to date as an old Winona Ryder tucks in her granddaughter and tells her a bedtime story. Once upon a time, a long time ago, an inventor lived in the mansion on top of the mountain. He created many things, even a man with a heart, a brain, everything. Well, almost everything. Unfortunately, the inventor died before he could finish the man, leaving him all alone and incomplete. Two things right at the top. First of all, I want to talk about the note that you put in this part of the outline. Can you tell us? It said, "Old lady, I've solved the case."
Yeah, I said, I hope it's not a twist that this is supposed to be Winona Ryder. Because the story she tells doesn't say, like, when I was a little girl. So then, like, is this supposed to be a bedtime story until the reveal that it's Winona? Because guess what? I know that voice anywhere.
Yeah, I think that it was, in air quotes, supposed to be a twist. Like, at the end of the movie, we do get her taking off the glasses and being like, because I knew him.
Yeah.
But I do love that right at the top, you were creating a mystery for yourself to solve.
But it wasn't a mystery. I knew it. Sometimes at a graduation, they'll trick you when they say, that boy was me. But I knew the whole time.
Well, that's because the boy called It came to your school in middle school and said that. And so anytime somebody tells a story now, you have been hardwired to be like, I bet it's about them. I bet this isn't about just anybody. Number two, let's just talk logistics.
Okay.
Because I feel like, to me, hands are a very important part of the body.
Yeah.
We see later that his maker is teaching him things, talking to him. He's essentially, I think, being built while he's alive.
Yeah.
Why don't we just wait till the end to give him sentience? Why do you give him a brain and a heart and courage and then take him down the yellow brick road to allow him to do just most daily activities of living?
In the creator's defense, I think that while you're teaching him things, much like I think much like that, you want to see how much power it's going to have. So teach him all these things. And then if you're like, oh no, I think I've created a monster that might kill someone. Not if he doesn't have hands. How's he going to rip my brain out without hands?
Well, if that's the concern, if safety is the number one concern, surely we can look around our kitchen and find a spoon, a ladle. There are other things that could be given to this man besides knives if we're worried he's going to overpower us and murder us all.
They were scissors, not knives.
You know what they say? Scissors don't kill people. People kill people.
That's beautiful. But also logistically, hands are at the middle of your body. So, like, if you were working bottom up, then the head would be the last thing you do. If you were working top up, the feet would be the last thing you do. But why are the hands the last thing you do?
I think if we're going to go by your model of like, okay, wait, let's test the waters before we give this person access to a body, then have the body ready to go. Bring the person's head to life, talk to them for a while, bring them around, put them in a bowling ball bag and pop them out to read him poetry. Once he's proved, okay, you can be trusted with the body, pop them all on, you know?
Where is the body? Wait, I want to put my hat on.
I keep forgetting it's Christmas.
Yeah, this was your idea. But also, with that in mind, I have no doubt that this is how you dress on Christmas morning.
Meanwhile, in a color-drenched town that rivals Pleasantville, Peg Boggs is going door to door selling Avon, and she may have struck out with her neighbors, but as anyone who has received a DM with far too many emojis from the worst person you knew from high school knows, MLM Hunbots are nothing if not persistent. And so, Peg drives to the creepy old mansion at the top of the local mountain to deliver her pitch. And after discovering a gorgeous garden outside of the home, complete with beautifully trimmed bushes and trees, the Avon lady commits a B&E and waltzes into the dilapidated home. Once there, she discovers Edward, a man who is passionate about collages. He doesn't have eyebrows, but he does have scissors for hands.
First of all, you classless swine, they're called topiaries, not beautifully trimmed bushes. Second, has anyone ever paid homage to this in other art forms? Cuties, let us know. If Chelsea doesn't know the answer, which I'm sure she doesn't, so let us know, cuties. I feel like the little village, and even the mountain and stuff, but more so the village, and like the way the horny housewives were dressed, I feel like it screams Sabrina Carpenter music video.
Oh, 100%.
So I wonder if we've ever seen it.
I mean, it would make a great part of a Disney theme park.
Yeah, I agree. Of course it was Florida, but this little cul-de-sac already exists.
It
They
does?
didn't change anything to it, yeah.
The houses were like this already?
The only thing that wasn't like this, obviously, is the house on the mountain, but everything else was
Like
exactly
the houses
same.
were painted like this already?
Yeah.
I love that. I love color drenching.
Do you?
Yeah. And here's a fun fact for any people out there that love to paint a wall as much as I do. Here is something that I discovered firsthand when I was painting one of my bathrooms a dark, beautiful green color is if you color drench a small space, number one, you don't have to worry about the trim because you just paint the ceilings too. But it's counterintuitive because you think it's going to make the space feel smaller, but it actually makes the space feel bigger because you have the line of vision where everything is the same color.
Huh.
The more you know.
Our very own Martha Stewart.
Yeah, or the guy on Trading Spaces that glued hay to the wall. TBD. Like what you're hearing? Head to patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne for more.
There you can find uncut, unedited, and unhinged video and audio footage of current episodes.
That's patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. See you there. And so, Peg does what any person would do. She takes him home, where Edward immediately pops a waterbed, struggles to eat peas, and tries to put on pants on top of his other pants.
It was this point in the movie that I was pulled out enough to think about what exactly it was that I was watching. And out loud, I said, what the fuck? and and up until then, I was just in this world asking no questions. The color blocked houses were cute. Even the castle at the end of the cul-de-sac that clearly doesn't fit in, like hide that shit behind some trees, whatever. But like I was still vibing. I still enjoyed what we were doing here. But then once I asked that out loud, about every 8 minutes, and this is still when I enjoyed the movie, for the first half hour, every 8 minutes, I would say, why Scissorhands?
Yeah, why indeed? And I think that, to quote Chicago, he had it coming when we learn what happens to the maker of Edward, because I have many, many follow-up questions for that man, and some of those questions would be hard ones to ask. Like, for example, why? Why did you create this man who is wearing a leather bodysuit when you yourself, we see a man of fashion, he's wearing a kerchief just day to day as he's in his mad scientist lab. He has access to clothing. And I know that it's because, again, the scissors would probably cut the fabric, etc. But that brings us back to your question and the most important question of all, why scissors?
Why scissors?
Also, does Edward have body under that suit, or is that his suit?
I think that is the body.
Okay. So he's like a Barbie doll that has been like painted on.
More so like a baby doll. You know how baby dolls have cloth bodies and then plastic limbs? That's what he's like, I think.
Okay. Well, at least we know then that the maker wasn't total sociopath, that he didn't give him...
Oh, a real dick.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because if Edward's cutting his face like that, Lord knows.
Oh my God, yeah. That just made me cringe.
All the neighborhood biddies are talking about this mystery man shacking up at Peg's house, and they demand a barbecue to meet him. Peg gets Edward all gussied up for his big meet and greet, using the best Avon products on the market, and it pays off. The horny cougars love him, calling him extraordinary and hand-feeding him their famous ambrosia salad. Yes, everyone loves Edward. Everyone, that is, but the local loony Esmeralda, who warns everyone that Edward is a heathen sent straight from hell. When Peg is putting on the products to Edward and we get the point of view camera of her looking right into the lens and like, oop, just a little more here. This is the origin story of all of the ASMR videos I am given on my For You page on TikTok, because I surely do love a girl with a lot of rings, long nails, and it's like, hey, do you mind if I do your hair? And then she's like going like this. She's like, oh, let me just put a little mascara on for you. I also have then, there's two sides of the same coin, because I'm also on woo-woo side of TikTok, and I get the like energy Reiki healers, and they have like the bangles and all the things, and then they're like, okay, close your eyes. Oh, I'm getting that energy. Oh, that's better. Take a deep breath.
But is that real or is that a skit?
No, they're being genuine, and I treat it like it's a Reiki session. I surely do watch the whole thing. There's a reason that I continue to get these videos. And I felt the same way about Peg slapping on that concealer to Edward.
He needed it, except it washed him out. Also, someone in the comments, when we mentioned that we were covering this movie, said that they wanted to hear my thoughts specifically about the ambrosia salad. So I don't know if they thought I would be disgusted. I don't know if they thought I would like it. But I looked up the recipe. Do you know what it is?
No.
Cool Whip, sour cream, or dairy-free vanilla yogurt. But in the 80s, it was probably sour cream. Shredded coconut, mandarin oranges, pineapples, maraschino cherries, pecans, and marshmallows. I love it.
I was going to say the first part of that is what my Aunt Paula makes, and we call it green gunk. But she doesn't go as far with the pecans and the marshmallows, and it's pineapple.
Wait, why green? She doesn't put cherries in it?
No cherries, no. And I think she does put food coloring in it. Maybe.
Oh, okay. I love anything fluffy and pink. I read the comment that said they wanted to hear my thoughts about ambrosia salad. But once Joyce brought the ambrosia salad and it just looked like pink Cool Whip, I didn't care what was in it. It could have been hot dogs in there. I knew I was going to eat it up. I also love, what are the little balls around St. Patrick's Day called? You know it. I think white trash people make it. Or maybe just Irish people. But I'm both, so I get it confused. St. Patrick's Day.
Balls?
Treat. Oh, Irish potato. You know that?
No, what is it?
Philadelphia cream cheese, sugar, shredded coconut, vanilla extract, and then you roll that into little balls and then coat it with ground cinnamon.
Ooh.
It's really good.
Again, anything white trash is going to be up my alley.
That whole barbecue, every time they were bringing all the food, I was like, I would thrive here.
I mean, there is a reason that you and I met each other, locked eyes, and said, I've met you before. Now, is it that we knew each other in a past life? I think so, but it also could be that we have just lived parallel lives in the white trash cinematic universe.
I just wish that the Venn diagram of MAGA and white trash wasn't so much of a big circle. Because if there were white trash communities of woke left, I could very much be a part of it.
There are, though. It's like the Southern Appalachian badass people. There are certain pockets, like what North Carolina is doing right now to ICE is incredible. I encourage everybody to set your sights on Western North Carolina and what they're doing to ICE. That's where Dr. Bald's family hails from, the mountains, and his Nana. Ooh-wee.
All right, I'll research it. That does sound like they're wonderful people. However, there's tiers of white trash. And I think once you said mountains, I don't want to get into it. I like Philadelphia white trash.
Okay. Yeah, and that is a completely different breed.
Uh-huh.
Than
And
what I'm
there's
talking
no
about.
woke left in Philadelphia white trash.
No, surely not. There's barely a woke anybody in Philadelphia. 3 a.m. energy. I've said it famously, and I'll continue to say it each and every time I talk
They're woke
about
at
Philly.
3 a.m. when they're climbing lamp poles and stuff.
The first time that I met Dr. Bald's family and I visited his parents in the mountains, I've already told the story of I got my nose pierced earlier that morning for no reason. But we were about to go for a walk, and his mom's like, if you see any soda bottles on the side of the road, don't pick them up. Don't try to recycle because it might be a shake and bake meth lab. People take these things in the car and they create meth in them and then they ditch it. And so you don't want to touch any of the Mountain Dew 2 liters on the side of the road because it could be methy. I was like, okay, thanks for the heads up.
Do they come back for it?
No, it's like they're disposing of their trash.
How do you get the meth out of it?
You don't.
I don't think I understand the logistics of cooking meth, but maybe I'll start watching Breaking Bad. You know what Serena would say to that Mountain Dew bottle? I didn't come back for you.
She was going to see it and be like, I have to go. Edward is a hit at his new Foster Brothers show and tell presentation, but things don't go so well when Peg's daughter, Winona, returns home early from a camping trip, only to discover Edward in her bed. And she understandably freaks the fuck out since no one in her family bothered to tell her that there is an ambiguously aged man with a proclivity for leather shacking up in her room. Unfortunately, by the time Winona has a chance to have had a proper introduction with Edward, he is drunk as a skunk off of the lemonade Winona's dad gave him. And just right here, justice for Winona. They have a pull-out couch. Edward gets moved to this pull-out couch. Her dad calls her crazy for freaking out about this situation. I don't want any strangers sleeping in my bed, let alone a man with scissors for hands who I have never met and who I don't know. And then they make her apologize to him.
No, absolutely not.
This would be my villain origin story.
Yeah, and like, I know in the beginning we're not really focusing on it. Like, Scissorhands aside, this man looks like a freak. Like, to sleep in, he's in full leather. Not to mention the hair or the cuts on his face. And the dead-looking skin, corpse bride.
Overlooking everything you just said. This is also a man who was raised in isolation, who has never been integrated into society, who has still not been to a doctor, hasn't seen a therapist. We took him right from his mansion with the roof caving in directly into our daughter's bed. There was no stop in between. There was no, let's get a physical. There was no, let me go to the library and do some research to make sure that this is a man who was just raised on this mountaintop and not, you know, a serial killer posing as whatever this is.
Now, I did love the roof caving in. I was thinking the whole time of how I would turn that into a bedroom, besides weather stuff. But
a
like,
skylight.
the view of it was incredible.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
My first thoughts of Winona in this movie is, I hated her hair color in this. Give me brunette Winona or give me death.
There is something about color theory, and she is just not meant to be a blonde.
No, and I will say, we didn't even get to the Winona reveal before I started disliking this movie, so I need any cuties that just heard me talk right now to know it wasn't because I hated her hair in this that I stopped liking it. I stopped liking it first.
And then
This
you
just
saw
didn't
her
help.
hair and you said, I knew it. I hate it.
Yeah, when I started to trail off and I was like, all this fucker's doing is cutting, that's when I was like, oh no, I don't think I like this. And I really wanted to like it.
I believe that. I do believe that you wanted to like this.
I thought it was going to be a lost gem that I just found on the sea in 2025. And I was like, oh my God, wait a second. This is not sand in this bottle with the ship. This is someone's mother's ashes. You know?
Sure. Yeah, but it turned out, unfortunately, not to be someone's mother's ashes for you. But at least now you know how I feel, because I have this experience of letting down the cuties frequently, where people are in the comments so excited. Oh, you're going to love it. Oh my God, my favorite movie. Oh my God, I watch it every year. And then I have to sit here for an hour and 30 minutes saying, you're wrong.
No, but Chelsea, I still think I'm better than you, because when when I posted the picture of what is the point of Edward Scissorhands, there were people that came in my DMs and they were like, oh my God, no, this is my favorite movie. And then they were like, but I get it. So maybe it's the patriarchy, or maybe it's because they know that this movie doesn't have a plot, but they don't care. Whereas you do it to while you were sleeping. You do it to quintessential Christmas films.
I would like to say that I am someone with a point of view, and I don't allow the outside noise to change my opinions about something. And I'm going to experience something, and then I'm going to reflect inwards and say, do I like this? Or is this a super creepy movie where Sandra Bullock should have been institutionalized?
Yeah, but the people that speak out are the kind of people that get assassinated.
Cancel clear. Cancel clear, thank you. And I don't know if it makes you better than me, but we have talked about this, and you have a large subsect of cuties who follow you and don't follow me.
That's not true.
Which speaks loudly to me. And I think that those cuties interact with you differently than they interact with me.
That is not true.
It is true, Donnie.
There's not a lot.
The number of times you repost somebody being like, listening to my favorite podcast, listening every week, and they only tag you, and then I click on them and they're not following me, it really gets in my head, because then I have to think to myself, you listen to us every week. You like us enough to be promoting us. Thank you. You tag Donnie, so you are on social media and you do know we have accounts, and you're not following me.
I don't think you should take it personally. I followed Kiki and Michael and didn't follow Sarah. That doesn't mean I thought Sarah should be out of a job. I follow Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg. I don't follow Alyssa Edwards, but that doesn't mean I don't like Alyssa Edwards. Love her on The View Roundtable.
Just don't want to see pictures of her Christmas links, maybe.
Maybe. Or
Okay.
like it's okay to be drawn to one person as part of a duo. Would you
That's
fuck Batman
fair.
or Robin? You don't need to fuck both.
Well, then maybe this goes out to the people who follow me and maybe not Donnie, of when you interact with me, maybe you could say, but I get it. Because in my DMs, you're saying, you rancid bitch, you dumb idiot. How could you not like it? And then that's what I get in my head. Are they following me because they're spies for Donnie? Cuties, you know that I frequently talk about how not everyone deserves to have access to thoughts, and most edibles just get me way too high. They make me start spiraling, they make me start contemplating, they make me start wondering, and that's not good for me. Luckily, Lumi gummies always make me feel just right. Constant, mellow, and super delicious, Lumi gummies are specifically designed to make you feel good, not stoned. Whether you're looking for an end-of-day de-stressor, a midday mood boost, or help getting the best sleep ever, Lumi Gummies has a strain that's right for you. I don't know if you've noticed, cuties, but take a look around. The world is a dumpster fire. I have been super stressed. So I took a hybrid strawberry cookies gummy, and I gotta tell you, I cannot remember the last time I was so relaxed. Lumi Gummies are available nationwide. Go to lumigummies.com, that's L-U-M-I gummies.com, and use code CUTE1 for 30% off your order. Again, that's L-U-M-I gummies.com, code CUTE1. lumigummies.com, code CUTE1.
Also, let's talk about Winona's brother. Do you know who this is?
No.
This is the main character from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I know.
I didn't recognize him so tall.
We have to cover that movie eventually, too.
Yeah, that was a formative one for me.
Yeah.
That scene in the grass. Woo.
With the lawnmower?
Yeah, terrifying.
That's why I stopped mowing the lawn. I was like, I'm not doing that.
I could be killing someone.
Yeah.
When he's not having can opener-induced PTSD flashbacks of receiving etiquette lessons from his maker, Edward enjoys spending his time putting those scissor hands to use. It turns out he's great at grooming dogs, a champion at chopping salads, and a total whiz with bushes, transforming hedges into tree dinosaurs, tree people, and tree swans. Oh, and when he cuts a woman's hair, she comes. And really quick with the flashback, and I'm going to let this go, but it was at this point in the movie that I was really spiraling about your question, why the scissors?
Yeah.
Because again, what was the order of events here? We see now that not only did the maker give him the scissors as a placeholder, but he presented him with the plans where it showed like the evolution of first comes scissors, then one day comes fingers.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we could have picked literally any other item in the house to be hands. And this is coming from someone who I did create an entire Christmas winter wonderland in my home where you look at this beautiful doorway arch that I've created, and immediately past that doorway is a closet that's been broken for 6 years and the door does not shut. So I get having your priorities a little wonky, but this one seems like a dangerous one.
No, I would agree with you. Also, to bring it to the real world for a second, this is a two-parter. One,
Sure.
Tim Burton said that he got the idea from a story he wrote as a child. And I know the movie did well. I know the movie has its fans. But I really think Roger Ebert had it right this time. That he said, like, beautifully, Tim Burton knows what he's doing. But he had to literally turn to some woman who wrote about an abortion come to life to get him to, like, flesh out the story because he didn't know what the hell he was doing with the story. And I think that's the case. So I think if we're turning to childhood stories, maybe we don't really have a story to tell. Second, I think the reason I like teaching Mrs. Tingle so much is because that is the kind of teacher I would be. Because if Tim Burton was my student and drew this Slender Man with Scissorhands, F. Go to the guidance counselor's office. This looks like shit, and it's kind of scary to me. This is a threat. Also, if you had the power, or the skill set, I guess, is not really a power, to cut bushes into shapes, what would you make?
I think I would make them faces.
Mm.
Imagine.
I am.
Like random celebrities or Lady Elaine from Mr. Rogers just in my front yard as one of the bushes.
I would want a theme. I don't like the Golden Girls enough to do it, but like the 4 Golden Girls would be cool.
What about the Charmed sisters?
That would be cute. I could get into that, but only 3 of them. The other one could be in the back by the doghouse. Rose McGowan, if you're wondering.
Well, Patreon cuties know that my mom recently bought a chainsaw because some behind the scenes tea from that solo episode that I did have to stop recording halfway through and come back to it because my mom texted me and said, "Hey, I'm on my way over to your house." And then outside of my window, I heard, "Rum." And that woman surely did, unsupervised, not a spotter in sight, not anybody near a phone to call 911, just chopping down a branch of one of my front trees that she had her eye on and she thought was looking ill and going to poison the other trees. So this could become a possibility. Don't forget, a couple years ago, had a bit of a depressive episode, learned how to build a door. So maybe one day I will have some faces in my front yard.
Wait, did you really build a door?
Well, I didn't build it from scratch, but I fixed it. The wood rot. It's not looking great now. It did look good for about a year, and now it is taped together to like hold all the pieces in. But
okay, so some may say it wasn't really fixed then. This is like when I had a hole in my wall in my first apartment in New York and I didn't know how to plaster stuff. Like I knew I needed to put spackle on it, but how do you put spackle over a hole this big, you know? So what I did was put duct tape over the hole and then spackle that and then paint over it. So to the eye, it is fixed, but like it is also just duct tape.
To the next person who tried to hang a picture and took a nail to that spot and went right through the duct tape, that's what we call a little surprise. Soon, Edward and Peg are on a press tour where people tell him that if he got regular hands, he wouldn't be special anymore. They recommend that he open his own beauty salon, and they ask him if he has a girlfriend. And it is at this point in the movie, despite the fact it has never been established how old Edward is, we are introduced to the idea that there might be a budding romance between Edward and Winona, a high school student who has a boyfriend, mind you, and is Edward's foster sister. So that's neat. And speaking of failed romances, the local skank, Joyce, lures Edward to a storefront he could turn into a salon where she attempts to seduce him. And when Edward rebuffs her advances, she tells the neighborhood that he forced himself on her. Call him Aziz Ansari because Edward got me too'd. And things only get worse from here. First, his loan for his salon is denied. Then he accidentally becomes a criminal when Winona's douchebag boyfriend tricks him into robbing his parents' house. But Edward ain't no snitch. He knew it was Jim's house, but he did it anyways because Winona asked him to.
I have to come clean about something. When I was 4, I played Knock Knock Zoom Zoom on the old lady's house 2 houses away. And
What is Knock Knock Zoom Zoom? Is that like Ding Dong Dash?
And I still feel guilty about it to this day.
Did you do it by yourself?
No, this little bitch on the block, the bad girl. There were 2 girls that lived on the block with me. And this is when I lived in Philadelphia. There were 2 girls that lived on the block with me. One I had a crush on. The other one had a crush on me. And the one that had a crush on me was bad influence. And she got me to play with her.
Was she your age?
Yeah, we were all the same age.
You were all 4 ding-dong ditching people's houses?
Yeah.
4?
It had to have been 4 because that's when I moved.
Well, so Donnie, I think we can take this one off of your plate of guilt because surely you should have been supervised.
It was Philadelphia in the 90s. You didn't need a supervisor. You could just be 4 years old sitting on the step.
Playing Zoom Zoom Bang Bang. Okay.
Yeah, it had to have been 4.
It's so interesting the things that you feel guilty about and the things that you just state proudly from your childhood.
And then another story, this just ties into it. This isn't guilt, this is embarrassment. But last night, me and my boyfriend went to see the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center. And then on the way, back to the train, at first I saw Kyland from Big Brother. And he was taking a picture with 2 fans. And I was like, oh my God. So because I know him, he was on my Big Brother podcast. I've worked the events with Asa repeatedly. I was like, oh, let me go say hey. But because he is on the challenge now, normally Big Brother contestants get their 15 minutes and then that is it. But he's on the challenge and then he was just on this season of The Amazing Race, whatever. He has a bigger fan base. So after he took a picture with those 2 girls, he was very clearly done being with fans because then people were screaming his name Kyland. They wanted pictures with him too. But I was like, I'm not a fan. I know this person. So I was like, hey, and I touched his back. He turned around and I said, hey, how are you? And he said, hi, how are you to me? But it was very clear he didn't know who I was. So then I was embarrassed of that interaction anyway, because that just makes me feel like, oh, I'm nothing.
Well, also, as somebody who's face blind, if I can make you feel a little bit better,
okay,
it's really hard to place somebody outside of a scenario that you've known them in. I've even had the experience of running into old coworkers who I worked with for years. But I run into them in a grocery store and it takes me a full 10 seconds to be like, who the fuck is this person?
Okay, that does make me feel slightly better. But I didn't think about that. So it made me feel embarrassed, just a one-on-one interaction. But then because it happened in front of my boyfriend, then I was even more embarrassed. So then, throughout the night, we went back to his apartment and we were hanging out, cuddling, kissing, doing all things boyfriends do. And I would repeatedly still say, I can't believe that happened. And he did the bangle bracelet. He said, get rid of it.
Let me
get
suck
rid of
it
it
out of you. Yeah.
Please, not on that video.
Well, don't ever rob a house. I don't know if you'll be able to handle it.
Kyland, if you're listening, don't do that again.
Kyland, if you're listening, that boy was him. Edward's foster family tries to give him a crash course in ethics, but it might be too late, especially since Edward has himself a good old-fashioned crash out. His foster mom is running out of hair for him to cut, his foster brother won't play rock, paper, scissors with him anymore, and his foster sister, despite eye-fucking him occasionally and dancing whimsically in the snow he makes, is still dating his nemesis, Jim. And speaking of Jim, when Edward accidentally cuts Winona, Jim calls Edward a freak and tells him to leave town.
When Edward cuts Winona by accident, it made me think, so currently this season of the world, winter, not this season of, my life like a TV show. Although the other day I did talk about therapy to Chelsea and I didn't even realize, but I did call it this episode.
Yeah, you said, and later in the episode when I was talking to Macy Gray, I said, not you calling therapy an episode.
But it's because we do it over Zoom. We record 3 times a week and then I log in for a recording with her once a week.
When I am doing Zoom calls for my day job, I am terrified every time. I clench my hands together because I am so scared a day is going to come where I say, all right, talk to you later. Love you like a sister.
Oh, I would love that. Please let me know if you do. This season has been particularly hard with psoriasis on the hand region. Every year targets a different area. And this year it's getting really dry here, but the worst right here on my palm. And it's kind of healed, so you can't really see it. But last week it was terrible. Right here, just a patch of skin so dry that on the lifeline or whatever, it ripped open. It was just an open cut right down the palm of my hand. So
you're jumping dimensions.
Oh, yeah, it was very Stranger Things. I was waiting for something to crawl out of it. or for a bald girl to crawl in, but it was very painful. And you would think that means, like, just stop using it. And for some things I do. Like, I used it as an excuse to not do the dishes all week. I was like, I can't. It will really hurt. And that is the truth. But I didn't stop masturbating. However, I had to dry rub it. Like, I couldn't use lube or anything. So then it made my penis hurt as well.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
How did this have to do with what we're talking about?
Winona got cut.
Oh. Okay. I understand now. Dr. Bald gets really bad. He doesn't have psoriasis, but he gets really bad eczema. He has started putting on his Vaseline at night and then putting on sleeping gloves that he sleeps with. And all I can think of is that creep from Of Mice and Men who keeps his hands really silky. I'm like, this man is a serial killer next to me.
No. Of Mice and Men is the special needs gentleman who chokes a woman in a barn.
Yes. There is a character in that who lubes up his hands and like puts gloves on. It stuck with me in middle school when I read that book. Enough so that when my husband, 15, 20 years later, put on those gloves, I said, I'm like 90% sure. If not, that's a core memory that I've been telling myself for years.
No, you're right.
I know.
In John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, Curly wears a glove full of Vaseline on one hand to keep it soft, supposedly for his wife, which symbolizes his insecurity, artificial masculinity, and control, contrasting with his aggressive nature and hinting at the rough treatment he gives her, despite the tenderness claim. This detail reveals his need to project strength while also tending to his wife's desire for a soft touch, and it sets up his eventual violent confrontation with Lenny, where his hand gets crushed. Whoa.
See?
Also, when I saw Of Mice and Men on Broadway starring, who's the guy that, like, makes college courses to sleep with young girls?
James Franco?
Yeah. When I saw Of Mice and Men on Broadway starring James Franco, not as the special needs one, as the other one, Leighton Meester played Curly's wife. She only had about 20 lines total, but she got choked in the barnyard. Brilliant work.
Choked in the barnyard. Boom, boom. And you know what they say, if you build a man with scissor hands, you're going to get sliced. Because when Edward returns home, Winona gives him a hug, and Edward is reminded of the time he accidentally murdered his maker by trying to give him a hug. And history is bound to repeat itself because in a series of unfortunate events, Edward ends up slicing up Winona's brother and Jim, causing the neighborhood to form an angry mob and chase poor Edward out of town. But ACAB Evitosh...
What?
But ACAB F-to-ish, because all cops are bastard except for ones in Edward's Scissorhands. The police officer who has taken a liking to Edward pretends to shoot him and then tells the town folk to go on home.
I thought you were speaking German. When they turn on Eddie and chase him out of town, I didn't expect any of them to welcome him from the beginning. I know this is not really what my takeaway was supposed to be, but the fact that it took this long, like, he was slicing people up. So the fact that that's what it took, I didn't fully, oppose their thinking. They gave him a chance. They welcomed him into their town.
Well, and I'll talk more about this in the What Ages Well section, but I do think it speaks to somebody being a shiny new toy until they're done with you, and then you're cast off to the side. Like putting somebody on a pedestal only to rip them down.
Okay. Blake Lively, if you will.
Sure. But not everyone went on home. And when Winona and her now ex-boyfriend Jim find Edward at his old mansion on top of that mountain, it results in Winona and Edward sharing a kiss, and Jim and Edward fighting to the death.
And this is what I wanted the whole movie to be. Like, I know every scene can't be a fight to the death, but, like, at least Beauty and the Beast, things were happening. I knew where we were going. And maybe that was it. The love story wasn't really there for me. Yes, she danced in the snow, but besides that, not much was happening.
It would have been creepier to get more details, to be fair. I was satisfied that they only shared one smooch after somebody falls to their death.
Disagree. I thought it was a love story. I thought it was about a freak that comes to town. Nobody likes them except this one girl with blonde hair, if you can call it that. Then they fall in love, and probably, like, the mother is like, no, you can't do this. He's a freak. And then she's like, but mother, I love him. And then shows the town the power of love, and everything is wonderful. So then when that wasn't what I was getting, and it was truly just about haircuts, I had an issue getting behind it.
Okay, that's fair. This was one of those movies that I am glad we covered it because we had a lot to talk about, but it could have stayed in the recesses of my mind, and I probably would have had warmer, fuzzier feelings about it.
Okay, yeah.
Winona tells everyone that the roof caved in on Edward, and the townspeople, despite being so diligent that they all hiked up the mountain to hunt him down, decide that Winona holding up a pair of kitchen shears is enough proof for them. And so we flash forward in time to that old lady telling her granddaughter that bedtime tale. And how does she know the story? Because I was there. You were right, Donnie. That girl was her.
I knew it. I know I talked a lot of shit. I don't want to be repetitive. Chelsea probably cut 20% of me saying it, but I will say something nice because it's just about haircuts and trimming bushes. I do think it would be a good bedtime story because it would put you to sleep, I think.
I'm glad you said something nice about the movie.
It's framed as a bedtime story, so it's good that it would actually work.
And she believes Edward still lives on top of the mountain 1 mile away from the town he terrorized because now it snows and this old bitch still dances in it.
I really did go into this movie with an open mind. I wanted to like it because I tend to like Tim Burton movies, except for the fucking Corpse Bride. I'll never cover it. Don't even ask. But I think my rule of if I haven't seen this movie in my 39 years on this earth, there's probably a reason why. I think that rule still is a rule.
One day I do hope to find the poop hole loophole of that, but not today. Okay, so final thoughts. If we were to bring this movie to present day, who would you cast in the reboot, or what would the plot of a sequel be? And I said, let's do a true crime podcast. And they are investigating what happened in that small town with the murder of the local high school boy. And they discover Edward on top of the mountain. And then the premise is him getting his next 15 minutes of fame now through the lens of a criminal.
Okay, cute.
What's yours?
I said Timothy Chalamet as Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, brilliant.
Sabrina Carpenter as Winona Ryder. And Toni Collette as Peg.
Ah.
Thank you. That might be the best one.
Yeah, brilliant. Final thoughts. What aged well about this movie and what aged like Blockbuster?
For Blockbuster, I just said Joyce claiming she was assaulted after she was turned down is tough. And that's all I wrote in either column.
Okay. I think that the aesthetics, as we've talked about, aged beautifully.
Yeah.
I think that the message of some of the things, like the scenes about people telling Edward how he should feel about his Scissorhands, whether it be don't let people call you handicapped or you won't be special without this thing. I think that it did a good job of capturing the projection of other people's feelings about something about you. And then sometimes people being faced with like, well, I didn't even really think of it at all until you've started coming at me about why I shouldn't be thinking about this thing or why I shouldn't be doing this thing. And I do think the commentary about celebrity status, that you're beloved until you're not, and then an angry mob will chase you through the streets and wish for your death.
Except probably for one faggot who will talk about you brilliantly on a podcast every week.
So if you want to be interviewed by said Epsler, slide into Donnie's DMs. Just make sure you also follow me because I'm going to notice. And next week, we are covering I'll Be Home for Christmas. We were originally going to be covering Holiday Heart. We get into the reasons of why we aren't covering that movie next week.
But we'll give you a teaser, pedophilia.
Among other things. So usually when we say next week we're covering, we haven't recorded it yet. But because we're batching content, we have already covered next week's episode. Yeah. Toot toot, buckle up, motherfuckers. We recorded it at 11 o'clock at night. I truly cannot remember what we talked about, but I do know that it is unhinged in a way that you haven't seen from us for a while. So get ready for that one.
Love that.
And we will talk to you later. Love you like a sister.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to I Am the Cute One. If you want more, head to patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne for uncut, unedited, and unhinged video and audio footage of current episodes, as well as even more bonus content.
And if you like what you heard, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating and subscribe to our show. And to help us grow this community of chaotic cuties, share an episode with a friend you think would pass the vibe check.
And to see the madness, check out our YouTube channel, where video footage from all current episodes are posted weekly.
You can follow me at Real Donnywood on Instagram and all other social media platforms.
And if you want more of my personal brand of chaos, check me out at Oh No Chels.
Talk to you later. Love you like a sister.